What's going on, Purple People podcast fans? Welcome to the show this week. It is officially February 17th of 2019. It's kind of crazy to think about. Yeah, it's just the Kyle and Kyle show this week. What's up, man? How you doing?
It's kind of the beauty of these off-season shows a little bit.
Had a little bit of breakout there, so I'm not sure if it's going to come through on the show. But yeah, the off-season stuff it's fun because we as the show, I mean, we all get kind of bored. We're kind of waiting on the draft at this point. Really what we're waiting for is, I think it's March 14th. Yeah, that'll be that Thursday when the new league year starts. All the crazy trades will go on, and people will switch teams, and power rankings will come out way too early. We'll keep you.
Yes. Tip: just put New England top of your power rankings because you might as well.
Yeah, don't do that. That would be the smart thing to do, and nobody ever does it. For some reason, they don't pick New England every year, and they just keep going back to the Super Bowl. So that's a thing.
Yeah, we're gonna put this will be the year for Jacksonville.
They're gonna get Nick Foles, man. They're gonna win the Super Bowl.
They could. They could. You never know.
So I'm sure we've named this show the same thing before, but it's an off-season show, and you just have to deal with it for this time. But it's episode 338, and it's called "Rhodes Closed?" ? I'm Ron Burgundy.
See, the question mark makes it different than how we've done it in the past.
Yeah, for all those hardcore Purple People podcast fans, you know the difference with the little details.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell that Adam Carlson is absent this week because we don't have anything clever to name the show. Sorry. Him and Dorian, shout out to Dorian too. Dorian's starting a new job, so congrats to him. They couldn't be with us. They have other plans, so we're going to keep going through, and we're going to power through the show. We want to shout out Kweku Kubi. If I mess that up, my apologies. I'm super white and North Carolina educated, so it's going to be a little, bottom of the barrel there for my pronunciations. But new YouTube subscriber, so we appreciate that. Share it with your friends. Tell everybody about it. I'll do the shameless plug at the beginning of the show this week instead of the end like we usually do. If you like us, let us know on whatever platform you use. If it's iTunes, Stitcher, PodOMatic, YouTube, Facebook. It doesn't matter. We have all that stuff. We have an Instagram. We have a Twitter page. Let us know. Let us know what you think. If we could improve it in any way, shape, or form. And share it with your friends. That's the biggest thing I can ask. Share it with your friends so we can grow this thing and make it bigger.
With us in the chat here, we got Scott Schwab, who's with us pretty close to every week. So thank you, Scott. Thanks for being with us. Michael Cambria, he's one of our regulars as well, too. We are both doing great. I am snowed in, and so I can think of nothing better to do than talk Vikings football on this lovely snowy Sunday.
Nice.
And then
thanks for making part of your entrapment.
we got Ronnie with us, who I don't know if I've talked to in the chat before, so thank you for joining us. He's talking about Xavier Rhodes already. He's trade him. We got some great young corners coming up, and we can get value. I'm gonna hold on to those thoughts for just a little bit. We're gonna be talking more about Xavier Rhodes later on in the show, so we'll get back to you. We'll get back to you on that one.
Yeah, for sure. That'll be one of the main topics we go into. We'll dive into.
It's actually our social media topic for this week. See,
Kyle's on top of that stuff, which I used to be kind of the person that had it up, and then we just kind of forgot about it. Of sheer laziness.
We're all collectively terrible at our jobs here at the podcast.
Yeah. This is what happens when you let the adults leave and the kids run the show. So welcome to this, for whatever happens.
Right.
This was an interesting one I was talking to Kyle about before we started the show. Quick hits. First one, a Pro Football Focus named Viking safety Anthony Harris third in the NFL last season with an 89.5 grade. That's insane. That means every time he stepped on the field, he did something great. It's pretty much what that translates to. I'll have to dig it up through the pictures. I'm not really sure what year it was. I think it was 2 years ago. Maybe it was last season. I'd been preaching Harrison Smith and his name for years and years. And, people would argue with I can't even think of any of the names anymore. Tyrann Mathieu, Ed Reed, Eric Berry was thrown out there. There's a lot of safeties that were good. Some of the guys from Philadelphia, but Harrison Smith had the best grade overall every year, and kind of a down year for him. Nothing too crazy. The grade wasn't terrible, but this is pretty close to what Harrison Smith had posted. And fun fact about what I'm talking about now with Harrison Smith, it's the highest grade they'd ever received for a safety, and Anthony Harris is within, I think, 9 points of that. So it's pretty crazy considering he's a backup.
He ain't a backup no more. 89.5, like that's he's gonna be starting out there. I took a little bit of heat for that during the middle of the season when I said that I don't know if Andrew Sendejo is the starter no more for this team, and I don't know if he'll even be back. Like, maybe I think you want him back for depth purposes, but like if there was ever a veteran that's not going to make this roster, it could be Andrew Sendejo. I think that Anthony Harris is. He's earned his right to be out there starting on this team. I mean, an 89.5 overall grade, that's nothing to joke about. I think we all recognized that he played well, but I don't know if we recognized that he played that well for us last season.
Yeah, I've loved the guy for months and months. I'm sorry, years and years, because he's been so good. But he's been so underrated. And, I have Virginia ties. I was there for a while. So you get to hear about the local college kids that are doing great things. And I think he was a steal in the draft for depth. This is definitely one of those players that, how they say, well, we'll add a quality lineman. Like Brian O'Neill from last year. We didn't expect him to start. But he ended up having to start, and he's going to progress, and he's going to end up being one of our starters. That's the goal right now. That's what it looks like. And this is what Anthony Harris turned into, the quality backup. And then when Andrew Sendejo goes down, you see nothing but good things coming out and out and out. And it's too often that you hear about people in the secondary that are off injured. They'll get pushed to the wayside. They'll get to another team. I'm with you. I don't know if Andrew Sendejo has a home in Minnesota anymore, but I know Anthony Harris is going to have a home somewhere because he made a lot of noise. And I hope it's with us. That's just me.
Yeah, I think so too. We got a shout out in the chat to Holton Hill, who was another young player that stepped up for Minnesota. That's from Michael Cambria, who said that one. And I agree. I think Holton Hill was a very good find by Rick Spielman and this coaching staff. He played really well for Minnesota. I'm excited to see if he will continue to grow and develop, and I think that he will underneath Mike Zimmer. Zimmer seems to have a way to grab a hold of defensive backs and really maximize the most of their talent.
Yeah, that's Zimmer's specialty. That's what he did in Dallas, and he was the D coordinator in Cincy for a while. He's the cornerback and defensive back whisperer, if you would say. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I think he would make Anthony Harris shine even more. But Anthony Harris also puts in the work, man. He's a good follow on social media, Instagram and stuff like that. He's just a cool guy, really chill, really laid back, but he's all about football. I like that he can bounce off time and hang out with some of the guys. I think he was hanging out with Afadi and Nebo the other day, one of the Vikings D players. So it was pretty cool to see, just hanging out. I think they're going on a trip together. But yeah, I really like Anthony Harris. I think he'll be on the team next year. I'm not sure about Andrew Sendejo, but we'll see, man. I wouldn't be mad if they moved on and he was the starter opposite of Harrison Smith.
A
little bit of a lapse there. I didn't hear what you said, man.
Oh no, I just said that I think he will. I think that Sendejo, probably they're going to try to trade him, and if they don't find a trade partner, I think he'll be a cap casualty, one that they'll release later on.
Yeah, for sure.
And when it comes down to final cuts.
Yeah, for sure. Which is crazy because you think 2 years ago, I think it was the NFC Championship game, the NFC Divisional game with the Saints. Andrew Sendejo started off hot. I mean, he started off great. He had the great pick on Drew Brees.
Moved a lot. He went from like a core special teams to like a reliable starter for the Vikings. But that's what happens. You get injured, a young guy comes in and plays better. Like that. That's the NFL, man. Like your windows are short.
Yeah, unfortunately, and I like Andrew Sandeo. He's a pretty funny guy. Just another social media follow if you like the team and you want to see what these guys are like off the field. Pretty funny dude, but he's a super good athlete. I mean, he's super in shape and all that stuff. I'm sure he'll find another team. Just you hate when injuries kind of hold people back because you always look at the what if question. So good luck with him. I hope he finds a home somewhere. If he ends up staying in Minnesota, I wouldn't be upset, but I would like Anthony Harris to stay. But we're beating that one into the ground. So let's move on to quick hit number 2. This is an interesting one. The Vikings are going to play the Eagles, and I believe it's going to be Philly in Minnesota, which would be great because we've had to go there 3 times in the last 3 seasons. So Vikings and Eagles, there are rumors. This is not official. It's not set in stone. But the rumor is it's going to be the Thanksgiving Day game. And this would also be the 3rd time in the past 4 seasons the Vikings will have played on Thanksgiving. And surprisingly, they've done all right. Under the Mike Zimmer umbrella for these, they've done pretty well. I'm glad it's in Minnesota. I hate the Eagles, and I will be okay with that. We'll be absolutely okay because that's the time when you're going to know, like, is this team that we're playing legit or not? Because if it's November and you're not doing well at the end of November, I mean, you're pretty set in stone. Like, all right, we either suck this year or all right, cool, we've beaten a lot of teams. Let's put this one on and see how good this team is. But I'm really excited just because we don't have to go to the horrible city of Philadelphia again. That's pretty awesome.
Right. Philadelphia's turned into quite the rivalry for Minnesota. The Thanksgiving Day games, I always like. I like the big time pressure games like that. Like, it's the only way that this team is ever going to get over the hump is they've got to win in prime time, whether it be, Thanksgiving or Monday Night Football or, whatever the big matchups are. I am definitely to come here and play us. It feels like we've been in Philly an awful lot. Good test. Like you said, it's a good test. Philly's a good team. Excited for it. I hope the Vikings don't ruin my Thanksgiving, but that you have to take it sometimes.
Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time talking about that team. There's a lot of good players on that team. I think Doug Peterson's an amazing coach. Carson Wentz is a stand-up dude. They've got talent all over at all the positions, but just that fan base has left a bitter taste in my mouth from a couple of years ago. And congrats to them, 2 years ago winning the Super Bowl. But I just don't like people who act like that to other people. It's just a football game at the end of the day.
Right.
This will be interesting because it'll be a lots of, hey, how are you? You go in, I'll hold the door for you, kind of thing in Minnesota versus getting beer cans thrown at your head and your children in Philadelphia. So that'll be an upgrade. But hopefully they play on Thanksgiving. That's the rumor. And once we get the official schedule out here on the show, we'll go on that game by game and we'll let you know when we're playing and where.
I would like it. It's a good matchup. I will welcome them on Thanksgiving.
This next one was interesting, coming from a wide receiver, and I almost spent $116 this weekend on an autographed Minneapolis Miracle poster. I'm sorry, photo, but I just couldn't put myself to that much to a picture, even though it's authenticated, all that stuff. But obviously, we're talking about Stephon Diggs with the Minneapolis Miracle. I actually posted this one in the chat, and I thought it was really funny and kind of cool. But apparently, Stephon Diggs' favorite player ever, quotes, is Percy Harvin. And watched a little bit about the highlights about Percy Harvin again. He was just a freak little athlete. He's a small dude. Reminded me a lot of Darren Sproles, but man, this kid was so talented. Kind of a jerk, kind of a locker room cancer kind of guy, but he ended up winning a Super Bowl with Seattle, and he was a hell of an athlete. Just couldn't stay healthy and had some baggage, but man, he was a good player for us. I didn't mind having him on the team.
Percy was a difficult one to figure out. I liked him a lot. He's a very dynamic player for the Vikings. He had some personal issues that you guys can read more into. He's done some interviews after the fact where he talks about living with anxiety and all this other stuff, and that's here nor there for us to really comment on things like that. And, how someone is supposed to handle that. I don't know. I don't know. And he talks about a lot about playing with migraines and how he was in playing with pain all the time and stuff. So strictly on the field for him, like when he was making plays, he was a darn good player for the Vikings, and I wish he could have stayed healthy. And to his credit, to be fair, who hasn't wanted to throw weights at Brad Childress in the locker room? I'm sure a lot of players.
I thought it was Leslie Frazier, which you can't ever be mad at the guy, even though he's terrible.
I thought it was Brad Childress because it was his rookie season.
Oh, well, if it was his rookie season, it was definitely chilly. I thought it was Leslie Frazier, which was just beyond me because it's like
maybe it was Frazier. Maybe I'm misremembering.
Either way, probably not a good idea to throw it at the coach when you're a player.
Yeah, probably not.
There's a weird kind of shift on that. I don't think I'd be nearly as mad if it was at another Vikings player, but since it was at the coach, you're like, what are you thinking? But if they got into a little brawl or something like that, between players,
that's your superior.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but
no, I kind of agree with you because I mean you see that happen all the time in like training camp when it's 100 degrees outside and the players are 2 hours into drill and sometimes they go at it and it's like whatever, that's like a player thing. Like yeah, I kind of am with you a little bit on that one.
All right, this one just hurts my soul because he's the whitest guy in America and definitely the whitest dude in Minnesota, which says a lot. Minnesota is just the most Caucasian state ever, next to Wisconsin. But
I put a kid here because you absolutely love this one.
Oh man, Vikings fans are being an absolute dick to Kirk Cousins. Yeah, he made a post where he told his followers that he would like to do a giveaway and ask people what he would like to put up for grabs, and these are some of the responses. If you like comment section gold, this is hilarious, but it's just kind of fucked up because, I mean, the guy, you can't fault the guy for wanting to get paid, wanting a team to commit to him, and I mean, I give it to him. I give him an A for effort and a gold star. He tries. I don't know if he's necessarily got that like competitive killer in him, but he tries. Dang it. Some people said, why don't you give away $80 million? You're only worth about $4 million and spread that over 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said, give away your contract so you can get off this team. Someone else said, you already gave away the season. We don't need anything else. Oh, the last two, you quitting football would really get my energy up. Give up the remaining years on your contract. Please free us from your mediocrity. Oof.
Why do people got to do that, man? Like, he's just trying to give away stuff and be good to his fans and do a fun. Hey, it's the off season. I'm gonna do a giveaway. Well, hey, what would you guys like? Autographs, jerseys. Hey, I can get you Stephon Diggs autograph or something. Nope, that's how people got to respond. Like, I think that's a pretty shitty thing to do.
Yeah, he means well, but I mean, this is the age we live in. If I ever became famous for any reason, I would never have the comment section enabled on my social media. And if it was, Instagram or bust, like, oh no, there's going to be comments. Cool, I just want to be on Instagram. Oh, you can't have that. You go on Twitter, can't, comments or replies. I'd take them off or I wouldn't have it because people just get to sit behind a screen and act like they're tough, and it's stupid. I wish nothing but the best for Kirk Cousins. And if you're a Viking fan, maybe I'm just pushing my views on you, but you should be rooting for this guy because, like it or not, you're married to him for the next 2 years. So I would hope that you would want him to do well, unless you just...
Yeah, if you're a Vikings fan, you should be wanting Kirk Cousins to do well. Like, yeah. You can be critical of him, and there are valid criticisms you can make of his play on the field, but he is our starting quarterback. Like, as a fan of the team, you should be supporting him. And I don't know why people got to be idiots like that. Like you said, no one's going to tell him that shit to his face. Like, you wouldn't say that to him.
Yeah, nobody's going to say that. There's a lot of these people that would geek out and try to get a picture with him or something like that.
Yeah.
And
I remember going to training camp, and you would see players that everyone hated online. Like, I remember Bernard Berrien. Like, everyone, Bernard Berrien needs to be cut and F this guy, whatever. And then you see him in training camp, and guess what everyone's doing? They're yelling at him in the autographs, a photo with Bernard Berrien, and he comes up and he signs for everyone, and he's taking photos and being great. And it's like, where's everyone who, like, you wanted him cut, but now you don't? Like, don't say shit to people online that you wouldn't say to them in person.
No, there's no repercussion for that. That's a totally different subject for a totally different show. I wouldn't say it's political, but it has a lot of politics sounding stuff with it. I think if you talk shit to people online, there should be like a pretty hefty fine across American standards. Because I'm just sick of people getting away with it. And I saw a meme recently that said, and I'm going off on a tangent here. For you guys that have never listened to the show, I apologize, but that's what I do. There's a meme out there floating around that says a lot of you talk a lot of shit online and have never been punched in the face for it, and it shows. It's because you can get away with it. It's just like a little kid. If I turn my back and you know that I can't see you, and I tell you not to get a cookie out of the cookie jar, of course you're going to take it. And if you know there's no repercussions, we all know that works. But I wouldn't say anything negative to Kirk. You want him to succeed because you want the Vikings to win a championship, and then. I don't love the guy. I'm wearing an Adam Thielen jersey. I had a choice. I didn't buy a Kirk Cousins jersey. I was in Virginia visiting my son this weekend. Went to a sports store. They had a little plaque type deal and had 3 Kirk Cousins pictures from this past season. I liked it, but I said if it was Stephon Diggs or Adam Thielen or Harrison Smith, I'd buy it. But it's Kirk Cousins. I don't really want one. But I still hope the guy does well.
Right?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's not difficult. That should not be a decision to make. Like, just don't be a dick to people online.
Don't be a dick to people. Kind of my rule as a father is to tell my son, be nice to people, man.
Right?
All right, I'm going to switch these around because I want to let this is the last main topic. So I'm going to switch and go to the last one first. Do we have to have this discussion again? Hall of Fame running back Chihuahua recently suggested that Minnesota Vikings would be an ideal landing spot for Adrian Peterson this offseason. Decided to bring AP home. Bring him back to Minnesota. Think about it. Tavius Murray may be out of there. You still like Dalvin Cook. He's going to be there. Remember, this is a 2-back league now. You're bringing Adrian back. What I saw last year, man, there was a lot of gas in that tank. It would be phenomenal to see him finish off his career in Minnesota where it's all started. All right, I'm going to agree with this take, but I'm going to have an asterisk beside it. On his very, very last year, bring him back. I think AP has 2 or 3 more seasons. Unless this is going to be his final year, cool. And the other caveat to that is, if Latavius Murray finds a home somewhere else, sure, go get AP. This is just a running back giving running backs love. I'm sure LaDainian Tomlinson would say the same thing. Maurice Jones-Drew would say the same thing about AP because running backs support running backs. They're super, supportive of each other, especially after their career. Go find Reggie Bush. He's doing some kind of analytics stuff for football. He'd say the same stuff about AP. I love Adrian Peterson. I do. I put all the nonsense aside. All that's past. All the hatred is blown out. It is what it is. You can't change it. You want the guy to be successful. The thing that is appealing about this is last year he took the veteran minimum, which if you were 2 years before, you were like,
he never would have done that.
Nope.
Yeah.
It's crazy because he was demanding so much money, which is ultimately why we let him go. And now he figured out, well, the times have changed. I've got to adjust. I think he's pretty well set financially, but he still wants to play because he has a point to prove. So if he comes back for a $2 or $3 million deal, $4 million maybe, I don't know if that would be too much. Sure, I'll take him back. But do we need him? Hell no, we don't need him. Absolutely not.
I want to see Adrian back in Minnesota when he's retired and he's ready to sign that one-day contract, that one-day honorary contract as a Viking that says, I'm going to retire as a Minnesota Viking, and we get to do a big thing for him and hold a jersey back up. And, hey, and we're going to call it a career, Adrian. We're going to go into a Ring of Honor soon, and you're on your way to the Hall of Fame, and you're this Viking. He did great things in Washington. He had a season together. I don't think that they're set in Minnesota the moment for him, which is weird because Mike Zimmer wants to run the football. Excuse me. But I don't know if the fit is there for Adrian based on what the Vikings want to do.
Here's my other point for that. he was on a team where every quarterback like broke their leg or foot and fell off their body, and all they had to do was run the ball. And what you were saying, if you're not the Seahawks, or I don't know who the second best rushing team in the NFL was, maybe the Saints, when you had a quarterback who's maybe on the downhill a little bit, it doesn't make sense. Kirk Cousins in his prime, we're going to throw the ball, even though you're right. Mike Zimmer wants to run the football. I don't really see the need for it unless he's playing out and says, all right, cool, I'm here to do whatever they tell me to do. That's it. Because that's not been Adrian's motto. Adrian's always been, give me the ball 30 times. Look, dude, we love you to death, but you're old. There's why you had a 1,000-yard season last year is because Mark Sanchez was your quarterback at one point. So,
right.
Yeah, you kind of look at other factors, but I wish the guy well.
Latavius Murray back. I think he's good. Him and Cook.
Yeah.
Cook really well. Cordero Patterson back before I bring back Peterson. That's from Michael. I don't know. I would take Charles Johnson. We're going to be talking about him a little bit over both Quantrell.
Yep.
What else do we got going on here? Ronnie says, it just drives me nuts knowing that Cordero Patterson has a Super Bowl ring. At least he made plays for them. Like, he was a part of their team and he was a part of their offense for the Patriots. That's a little better than some just being a backup and not doing anything and getting a Super Bowl ring. Like, at least throughout the course of the season. So you can't completely take it away from him.
Let me get his stats from this year while we're waiting. I'm not mad that he got a ring. I'm not mad at it at all. I mean, he wasn't shitty towards the team, so I can get behind that.
He earned it. He was on the New England roster. He made plays that helped them win games. Like, you can't say he didn't earn it. I wish he would rather helped Minnesota win a Super Bowl, but when we do, it doesn't always work that way for us.
So he had the most receptions of his career in 2016 with the Vikings. He had 52 receptions. Last year, he had his career low, minus 2015. He had 21 receptions, 3 touchdowns, 1 touchdown rushing, 228 yards. He's more of a special teamer than anything, but I'm not mad at the guy. Yeah, good luck, man. Obviously, we know why he got the ring. It's because he's playing in New England. He wasn't going to get one in Oakland. So, yeah, I'm happy for him. Good for him, man. All right, this one's going to be a fun topic because I want to know what people in the chat say. Denver Broncos have traded for former Super Bowl MVP quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens, Joe Flacco. Before I go for the rest of this quick hit, I really don't understand what the hell John Elway's doing. He has whiffed on so many quarterbacks. It's not even funny. Joe Flacco is like hanging on by a thread. There's a reason why they went with a quarterback who's like 190 pounds and runs more than he throws. And Joe Flacco looks like shit now. I don't know what the hell they're doing unless they're going to draft back really high.
Yeah, a change of scenery could be Flacco as well too. I don't know. The thing with John Elway, great years rarely seem to transition into front. Jordan. I mean, how is Jordan after his playing career? I can't even remember what that Jordan is the GM for. So what's happening with John too?
I'm sorry, man. Your internet's breaking up really bad. I'm getting bits and pieces. So the second half of this was, should the Vikings bring back Case Keenum? Scratch last year with Kirk Cousins. The year before, Keenum stepped in after a phenomenal first game from Sam Bradford. Keenum played pretty well through the whole season. He only had like 1 or 2 games that were kind of questionable. So everybody, on the Twitter sphere and the internet, it's like, well, we got to bring Case Keenum back. This is a terrible idea because you're going to pay way too much. I don't know if you guys are informed or not, but we're paying way too much right now for a quarterback. So I don't want to overpay for two because you can only start one unless you're doing the Wildcat and you have two quarterbacks out at wide receiver or something crazy like that. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. Case Keenum's good because Pat Shurmur made him good. We had different personnel than we have now. Jerick McKinnon was a big factor in that. I love Case Keenum. Dude's got a heart of gold, and I'm glad that he got paid and he'll be set for the rest of his life. But he's trying to be a starter somewhere, and I think he's better than some rookies that are playing out there. Like Josh Rosen, he's one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen. He could go to Arizona, maybe compete for that job if Josh Rosen doesn't pan out. I'm trying to think around. He's definitely better than Blake Bortles, in my opinion. So if you go to Jacksonville, if they wanted to cheap out there, he's definitely a starter. He's one of the lower end, I would say the lower quarter of the starters. But he made his bed 2 years ago, and now he's enjoying it because he's been a starter. I don't know what the hell the Broncos are doing, but Minnesota doesn't need to do this. I would love to have him back, but we can't afford him, guys. The cap is not friendly to us this year because we have too many players to play or that we're currently playing. So that's not going to work.
He would be smart to go to the Giants and reunite with Pat Shurmur.
Yeah, that's actually a good destination. I'm sure they would draft a quarterback as well, but if people could stop being so impatient and let a guy sit for a year, unless he were to get injured, which I hope he doesn't, let the kid sit, let him learn the system, let Case go out there and get you to 8-8 or 9-7 or whatever. Hell, they got probably one of the best running backs in football right now, and one of the best receivers. Who knows, man? Maybe they squeak in with 10 wins and make the playoffs. Case can do that for you. He did it for us, so I don't know. I don't think he should come back to Minnesota. That's just me.
In the chat that says, "Hello, I'm Japanese." That's probably spam.
Well,
unless it's actually an international fan, in which case that's really cool.
Tell us more about yourself, and then we'll determine from there if you are watching us from Japan, or maybe you just randomly heard about us wherever you might be, and you're listening to the show. We greatly appreciate it. But that's a first for the show, so that's kind of cool. So let's combine all these main topics together, and let's just go down the list of these before we jump into the Xavier Rhodes conversation. Main topic this week is the AAF. If you've watched it, you fell in love with football again because you can actually hit the quarterback. You can hear the referees talking about stuff when a call is made. There's a lot of guys that you've probably seen on practice squads or in preseason games playing right now. And we were going to talk about
a few names that you're like, I maybe know who that is. Like you can't quite place it. You can't quite place it, but you're like, I think I know who that is. Maybe. Let me look it up.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know where you know this name from, but you know you've heard of it somewhere. So here's a couple that you might have heard being a Vikings fan. Sean Washington is second in the AAF with 3 sacks. Jarrell Presley, second in rushing with 121 yards. And old Charles Johnson, man, I thought he was going to come up and do some big stuff with us. He's leading the AAF at the receiver position with 252 yards. And I don't know where these guys are playing at, what teams they're on. I haven't watched anything as far as a full game. I've seen highlights, but this is cool because they're getting a second chance. And this means they're getting paid something. So I'm happy for them. That's really cool.
They're getting paid. They're getting an opportunity. And you watch Charles Johnson, and like he looked good today. Like he looked crisp. He was burning by defensive backs. Like he looked above the talent that he's currently playing with. Like he deserves to be on an NFL roster.
Yeah, I don't know what teams are like super hurting at wide receiver. The first thing that comes to mind is like Buffalo. I don't know who the hell plays up there. I don't know why you'd want to play in Buffalo, but hey, if you're getting paid lots of money, maybe that'll be a motivating factor. But there are teams that are hurting for a second or third wide receiver. I don't think Charles Johnson is a number one by any means, but you got to have depth.
I'd take him over Laquan.
Yep. Yep, 100% where I was going. Kyle mentioned it earlier. I'd take the post office guy down the street over Laquan Treadwell at wide receiver 3 for us because he could probably not drop as many balls and be open. But yeah, this is really cool, man. I think the AAF is going to shoot up and can make the NFL competitive. Try to make him get back to where we were maybe five years ago. I think 10's a little much because they could actually beat up quarterbacks still, but maybe 5 years ago when there was less, questionable soft calls. My dad made a really good point over the weekend. He loves the Chiefs. He's loved the Chiefs forever. And he's like, man, that was, it was a bullshit in the conference game when they barely slapped Tom Brady's hand, and that's a roughing the passer call. Like, we all remember what happened to Brett Favre against the Saints 10 years ago. I mean, he almost died. So if we could just get something in between super soft and maybe not putting people on a stretcher, I'd be really happy. But that's where the AAF is at right now.
It's actually not bad. I've been watching it when I can. I mean, last night, Christian Hackenberg was fucking terrible to watch. But then today, like the game I watched today, was actually really enjoyable, and it was a really high scoring back and forth game. So I encourage people to check it. If you're a football fan, just give it an opportunity. Put it on.
It's super funny that you mentioned that. Christian Hackenberg being awful. All right, as much as we're bragging on the Viking players that are playing in this league now, let's talk about this. This is not the NFL. These are NFL rejects right now, currently. I'll just call it what it is. And if you're doing bad in this league, how the hell were you drafted in the NFL? Who took him? The Jets? Didn't they take him?
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, a typical Jets move to take somebody that bad, but the guy, I don't even want to watch. If he's as bad as you're saying it is, which I know I don't want to see it.
So they have microphones on a lot of the players that they cut to, like during the game, so you can hear what they're talking about. And he was throwing an absolute temper tantrum in the middle of the huddle on the field, and you're like, no wonder this guy isn't on an NFL team. What a douchebag!
Yeah, that's not a way to get. That's not a way to get a good rep for yourself. But I mean, if he's there right now, then he probably doesn't have a good rep for himself anyway. So it is what it is. Whatever.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about this main topic for this week. This is really exciting because I know this is going to spark a lot of debates. Will the Vikings trade Xavier Rhodes this offseason? And I'll ask the people in the chat. Will they? I'm not sure. Should they? I don't think so. But just for me, I like the guy a lot, and I don't think he's quite past his prime in his window yet. I think he's in his prime. I think he is often injured, but not for long. Maybe a game here and there every season. Can say the same thing about Stephon Diggs, but when he's on the field, I look at complete body of work. I stole this from Colin Cowherd, and I'll say this because maybe it'll make you guys think a little bit more. Take a player's best season they've ever had and the worst season they've ever had and throw those out the door. You're left with that body of work as an average. I think Xavier Rhodes is a good corner. I think he's a top 10 cornerback. Doing those aside, the worst season, the best, throw him out, take the average body of work. I don't want the Vikings to get rid of him. I think he's the best cornerback we have. And when he plays, the other guys play better. Like Trey Waynes plays better when it's him and Xavier Rhodes on the field. When it's Xavier Rhodes and Mackenzie Alexander, I get scared. That's just me.
I still think he is too valuable to the team. I know we have some young up-and-coming players that a lot of us really like. We like Holton Hill. We liked what we've seen in Mike Hughes, but we got to see more from him. I don't think that this is the season or this is the appropriate time to move on from Xavier Rhodes. You don't find corners that play at his level just anywhere. You just don't. So I don't think that we're going to move on from him. But you never know. We could be wrong. We've been wrong in the past. We'll be wrong in the future. It'll be interesting to see what happens with him. But I personally don't think that he will be going anywhere.
I don't think so either. I'm right there with you. I hope that he stays. Now, if he was on the trade block, would he get a lot of looks? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, he would. I mean, you think having a good pass rush and a good quarterback, those are the two most important things you need. I would say a good shutdown corner is within the top 3 or 4 needs of a team because you have all these freaky athletic wide receivers on every team that do all this crazy shit every year and get better and better and better. He's a big dude. He's a big corner, which I love. I don't like the small, fast, speedy guys. I like the big, tall, lanky guys that can get up, bust up coverage. So that's just me personally. According to Mike Zimmer, he can go down to the 7-Eleven and get a cover 2 corner, as we've heard many times, which I love. And I'm sure they'd be great for the team. But I think he fits best here, and I think he gets the most coaching out of him here. Of course, unless he went to New England or somewhere like that, which he would be the #1 corner in the league and win a Super Bowl. But I think that's every player, as Cordell or Patterson, as we were talking about earlier, kind of shows. But I don't know. What are people saying in the chat? What do you guys think? You think he's staying or going?
People still talking about Laquan Treadwell. he's a waste of a first-round pick.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You are not wrong.
If you got your phone, I forgot to pull it up. If you got your phone in front of you, I posted that on our Facebook group as the social media question.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, so I think we had a couple replies for it on that one as well, too. While you're doing that, our next week for the social media question, we are going to do like a rundown of some players as to whether or not you think they will be a Viking in 2019. We call it In and Out because we're not too creative with our names here at the podcast. And we're going to start that one with Everson Griffin because he's another player that people are wondering, will he be traded? Will he be a cap casualty? What's going to happen with Everson Griffin? So we're going to ask you guys next week for our social media question about him.
Yeah, that's gonna be a really good topic. Everson Griffin one for sure. We have 6 people who have left their info here. Let's start with the longtime commenter on the page and listener. I think we're all friends with him. Thomas Bew says he better not. I love Hyde, but he's not just a number, not a #1 just yet. I'm not sure, Thomas, who you're talking about for Hyde. Maybe I'm missing something. HYDE. Yeah, I'm not sure who that is. Ooh, I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher this name. Elultra Marioni. Ooh, I think maybe I got it right. No, as long as he stops acting like he ripped every ACL every time he gets it. He ripped an ACL and every time he gets beat on a play. All right, that I'm with you on that. He does throw a little extra dramatics in there when he gets hurt. Michael Vanderhart says, I'm okay with trading Rhodes. Rhodes open. If trading Rhodes means signing a top tackle or guard in free agency, then yes, I'm all for it. I wouldn't be upset with that because, like I mentioned earlier, with Mike Zimmer being the defensive back whisperer, I'm sure we'd get it figured out, and that'd be a good trade. Mark Anderson says he will be with the Vikings. Maybe Trey Waynes gets traded. That's also been a big topic of discussion. I do think Trey Waynes would draw a lot of value and get some looks for some teams. Chris Finkler gave us a nice little gif with Parrot shaking his head no, which was awesome.
I like that one. That's my favorite answer.
Gilbert Colon Jr. says no. Yeah. Do you think he'll be on the trading block? So it's a pretty good consensus of no. We have a couple of yeses in there, maybe. I think he's going to be in purple next year, and I hope he is. I've liked him so far. He hasn't really given me a reason to hate him.
I would be shocked. I would be surprised if he is not in Minnesota.
Oh, so I don't know. We're not going to abruptly end the show there. I think that's pretty much it for all the stuff we were talking about.
Yeah.
Let's look up some significant dates. The one that you have to look forward to is less than a month away. Free agency.
What is the draft?
I will Google it for you right now while I talk about free agency.
Okay.
Yeah, free agency for the official league year, I believe, is on March 14th. It's a Thursday. You can see now teams have already started talking because Joe Flacco. This is a principal deal; it isn't set in stone yet. But the draft is going to be up. I'm looking for it right now. My bad. It's mock draft. Oh, well, how about we look up dates? I'm getting mock drafts and all. I don't want to see who you think the Chargers are going to take in the first round. I could care less.
Well, why not?
All right, it's going to be April 25th through the 27th. It starts at 8 p.m. Eastern in Nashville, Tennessee, country music capital of the world. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that would be something I would love to go to. All right, that's cool. So for this year, host bid city process was chosen from Denver, Kansas City, Las Vegas, Nashville, and Cleveland. Oh God, don't go to Cleveland. Wait till they go to the playoffs and then watch all those people get super rowdy.
They deserve it. That'll be fun.
Not so bold prediction. The Browns are going to the playoffs this year. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, you're probably correct.
Not so bold anymore, but I don't know. The Ravens are all right. The Bengals are the Bengals, and the Steelers are in a total down spiral. It could easily sneak in as well.
Hey, as long as the Bengals got Andy Dalton, they ain't fucking going anywhere.
The beige water pistol. God, I love that kid. He's so bad.
But he's not that. That's the problem. If he was that bad, you could cut him. But he's not that bad.
No, he's unfortunately the person you've been married to for 10 years, and you don't want to get divorced because they're going to take half your shit. So you just have to stick with him.
He's also okay. And you can win. Yeah, and you can win football games with him. You just can't win enough football games with him. That's my biggest fear of Kirk Cousins.
I was just literally.
You know what I mean?
So he's Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. A little bit. We're only one season into it, but you compare, you look at Washington, you look at his season in Minnesota, that might be Kirk Cousins a little bit too. I don't know. I hope not, but we'll see.
Yeah, we all hope not too. We've already been over that a couple times. We're really hoping that that's not the case, but just be confident, man. We have a good coaching staff. That's a lot of the headache with some of these other guys. You can have all the talent in the world, Green Bay, at quarterback, and you just don't get it together because your coach is out of date. So we'll see what happens. I don't know, man. Got anything else in here? Is it going to wrap up this week's show?
I think that'll pretty much do it. It was a quiet, it's the off season, and we're way before, like you said, the draft and free agency and everything. So it's a little quiet this time of year, but that's okay. I do enjoy the downtime episodes like this. I think they're a lot of fun. We still have to do our end of season awards as well.
Yeah, we're going to get on those.
Yeah.
We're going to get on those soon. We're going to have everybody, once everybody, all four of us in the show can be on at the same time. That's probably when we'll do it. Yeah, well, thank you for reminding me of that.
Yep.
We'll let Adam and Dorian know. Like I said earlier, shout out to Adam and Dorian. Sorry they can't be here this week. Life happens. It's really hard to round this all four up at the same time every week. But we'll get back on track. We'll do that awards stuff. For the meantime, we'll do all the plugs for the show. We have a social media account on pretty much every platform: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can find us on YouTube. That's the biggest one that I want to plug. Shout out to you if you're watching us on YouTube on a Sunday night right now. That's really cool.
Yeah.
People that interacted in the chat. My only request of you guys is just share this on your social media pages and let people know about us, man. That's how we've grown to where we are now. Way back from Skype audio and pre-recorded stuff that you upload to the internet. Hit the dial-up button and hear those little clicks and clanks and upload the Skype audio. So now we can go live on here on YouTube. So that's pretty cool.
I'm going to do something on the Discord chat for draft day. I think it would be fun to have a Discord chat for everyone who wants to participate, kind of like what we do during the game, but just to talk about the draft, because that's a lot of fun. A lot of drama that always happens during the first round and stuff. So join us in the Discord chat for that one. I'll post that up on Facebook when we get closer to it as well.
Those are really fun. I really enjoyed that this past year. I didn't get into a lot of them just because I was in a different part of the world and I was kind of preoccupied. But it's so much fun getting to interact with people. It's kind of like the show, like the podcast show. But it's more concurrent with people who are listening, getting to say whatever they want. And that text thread, it just snowballs. We'll be talking about one thing or a certain play, and everybody will jump in. It's really cool. It's very interactive. But yeah, that's all I've got this week.
Yeah, I think we can. I think we can pretty much wrap it up.
Cool. Well, thank you guys to everybody that was in the chat tonight. We really appreciate that. I know it's a slow week. It's kind of boring, but we'll keep you up to date the best we can. Stick around. Like we said, free agency is coming up in less than a month. We'll hit that up. We'll try to get back to you sometime this week or maybe this coming weekend. And yeah, that's about it. So appreciate everybody. And as Adam Carlson would say, stay classy, Minnesota.